I believe there are quite a few of these mill drills around in the markets. This one here I've had for about 40 odd years, and they're still available, and quite a useful little machine, but a little bit heavy to use for fellas like me with shoulders that are not so young as they used to be. This is the counterweight I've made. It was made out of a piece of 100 by 50 RHS that I had sitting around in the workshop for some time. Cut it into 4 lengths because with a 4:1 lifting ratio on the pulleys, which I'll show shortly, it needs 4 times the amount of vertical movement as the mill drill head. So I've had to also fill it with concrete because the initial weight of the RHS was not heavy enough. As it is there now with 3 compartments filled with concrete, it weighs around about 20 kilograms, probably a little bit on the heavy side. The pulleys give me about a 4:1 lifting advantage. They're just pieces of nylon cut out of an old kitchen chopping board, mounted on 608 bearings, skateboard bearings, which you can buy very cheap on the internet these days. You get packs of 20 for about $8 including postage. Before I counterweighted it, lifting the mill drill was a two-handed job for a fellow like me. It was 2 hands on the crank and it was a mighty effort. Now 2 fingers, 1 hand, and it's easy. Coming down I have to be a bit more cautious because as I said, the counterweight is a little bit on the heavy side, and I need to ease the head down with the winding to make sure that it follows down okay. But it's not a big effort to pull it down. I still have some swivel facility, not an awful lot, but I've never used much of it anyway. And if I needed to move the head, it wouldn't be a difficult task to just slightly rearrange pulleys or take the weight off to do so. Okay, just to have a look at the parts that make up the chuck changing mechanism that I have now. A little swinging arm and crane. The swinging arm is just mounted on a square hollow section column, bolted to the back of the lathe, has a little second-hand ball bearing up there and a bit of the nylon cutting board there to take the side thrust on the bottom of that sleeve. The arm comes round over the chuck on the lathe and it goes round over the rack on the wall. Slides in and out on a couple of 608 bearings, and we have a swivel facility built into it. There is storage for the lifting arm, and there is a small amount of lift, about half an inch of lift built into the thing to take, it will help get the chuck basically onto the racks. To change the chucks, it's a very simple task now to just pop that into the chuck, and I'm very fortunate that the 2 chucks I have the same size bore, which made it easier for designing and building this device. Now it's just a case of take a little bit of the weight of the chuck, spin the spindle out until the chuck is free. That's where the lift comes into use. Put the 3-jaw on the rack, and then it's a very simple task in reverse to put the 4-jaw. Into the lathe. Just a little bit of pressure onto the spindle. Turn the spindle to get the chuck started, and away we go. And then again, very simple task to put the handle out of the way. Job done. Virtually no lifting, just a little bit of pressure on that lever to lift and lower the chucks. Makes my life easy.